I've just been thinking a lot about fatherhood, what it means, the pressures, the leadership roles.
The weight of being a father is very, very heavy. Whether you want to admit it or not, I love being a dad. Being a dad is the best job I have.
What's up, guys? This is Burn the Ships. Today, I am joined with my man, Mr. Cabalka, as always. Today, happy Father's Day to you, brother. By the time you guys see this, it'll be a little bit after Father's Day, a couple of weeks later. But today's topic, just because we are fathers, God, this week, man, a lot of different things have not only happened this week, but also I've just been thinking a lot about fatherhood, what it means, the pressures, the leadership roles, just all this different stuff has been just flowing into my head this week is around this. So we decided we were just going to do an episode today on that. So this week, we were just going to dig in on the weight of being a father, the struggles of being a father, and ultimately the legacy that we want to leave for our kids. So shoot, chat. I'm looking forward to this one, man. How do you feel?
This is one that I think we can both speak pretty well into because I know a lot of fathers, and I can very confidently say you're one of the best dads I know, period, point blank.
Thank you, man. I feel the same way about you. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, I think we both do a pretty good job, but I also think that the reason we do a good job is because we put in the effort, right? Whether it's leaning on each other, listening to podcasts, our worship, reading the Bible, whatever. I mean, everything that we do, I feel like you and I both understand it. I think the most important job that we have as men in this world is raising good, God-loving, contributing young people. And I think we get that. And I think that's the fuel of what makes you and I a good dad. But obviously there's a lot that goes with that, right? There's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of doubt and all those things that go with that. So let's dig in, man. Listen, we're going to keep this short and sweet today, guys. We have a tea time to get to. So.
we can be honest.
That's who we are, right? We're going to dive in deep and we're going to dive in very real and very vulnerable on, our feelings around this and maybe give you guys some ideas on whether, if nothing else, when you walk away from this today or after you watch this, you're either going to say, hey, man, those guys are right and I'm doing a lot of things right, or man, I can maybe sharpen my pencil in a few areas or whatnot. So
the weight of being a father is very, very heavy. Whether you want to admit it or not, I love being a dad. Being a dad is the best job I will ever have. I love being a husband too. And I would put that a slight 0.5% higher than being a dad because I want my boys to, a big chunk of how they grow up, the biggest chunk is going to be how they see me treat their mom. So I do think that relationship does, and the Bible would agree, that relationship does trump the father-son relationship, is the husband-wife. But the weight and the self-doubt and am I doing this thing right? Am I doing this thing wrong? Dude, it's constant. It's unrelenting. It doesn't stop no matter how good you're actually doing. A dad is always going to question himself. Did I discipline him enough? Did I discipline him too much? Am I present enough? Am I earning enough to give them the life that I want them to have? It is a spider webs of emotions that dads go through. And because of who we are as men, we don't share it.
I think like you and I and, like my buddy Sean and my buddy Mike and, and a few other friends, like we do okay at sharing, but do we really do a great job at sharing? Like, I know you don't, and I know I don't.
Right.
I mean,
and frankly, could there be too much share? And then you start questioning yourself on that. Am I just becoming a burden on my sphere because all I do is bitch and complain?
Well,
right?
If it's bitching and complaining,
absolutely,
then yes, it's going to get to be a lot.
But that thought will keep men from being open. They don't want to look soft. They don't want to, especially when it comes to being a dad, they're already questioning themselves.
Right.
We will have an internal voice telling us, you can't talk to Garrett about this thing because he's going to judge the shit out of you because this should be something you know how to do. You're dad.
Yeah.
But in all reality, you've gone through your kids are older than mine. Mm-hmm. You've gone through what I'm going through. Yeah. You're the perfect person for me to ask. Yeah. And you would never.
I'm never going to judge you.
Exactly.
And honestly, I think that most men would feel the way I feel. It would be an honor, right? Like I would be honored by you seeking, my
wisdom.
Yeah. I would be honored by you seeking my wisdom on that. It would be a compliment to me. I mean, it is a compliment.
You have 3 of the greatest kids I've ever met. Genuinely. The first time I met Bo T, like 3, 4, 5 years ago, whatever it was, he had a grasshopper. I just gave him a big hug. Mm-hmm. I can't believe how much that kid's changed. Dude, he's getting jacked. He's playing awesome baseball. The first thing he did to me was he shook my hand and he said, "Hi, my name is Bo Townsend. It's good to meet you." And this is when he looked you straight in the eye. Yeah. And he was knee-high to a grasshopper at this point. And I'm a big tattooed bearded guy, but he still had the respect to do that. And that immediately right there, I was like, dang, before you and I had anywhere close to the relationship we have now, it was just like a wow. And as I have grown with them and seen them grow and the amazing stuff your daughters are doing, it's a compliment to you that you have raised. Your kids are an outward reflection of how you are as a father. So clearly you're killing it.
Well, thank you. Because I can honestly say, as we go back and look at it, I'm very simple and I'm very simple-minded. And I look at life and view life as it's simple and you don't have to complicate it. But what I will say, with that being said, is being a father is the most complicated of all aspects of my life that I feel.
Yeah.
You know, am I being too hard? Am I being too soft? Should I say something about this? Should I just let it slide? You know, it's just one of those things where I am constantly
judging,
doubting and judging and you know, it's challenging. There's just no doubt about it. To me, it's more challenging than being a good, loving husband. Yeah. It is. And I think the reason I put
more stress on myself about it.
Yeah, for sure. And the reason is because, again, it's our responsibility to mold who they become. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, but fathers play, I think, a lot of times the biggest role in that. I think the biggest problem we have in society now is the lack of fathers. I think that is why.
Or lack of quality fathers.
Yeah.
We have a lot of distracted, uncaring, just aloof fathers right now.
Yeah.
And the weight that we carry is so self-inflicted because kids don't need perfection. They don't. You're never going to be the perfect dad. What they need is presence.
Yeah.
They need you to care about what's going on in their lives. To not be the dad that is just sitting on the couch with his face in his phone 24/7, or the dad who's going out drinking with his buddies every single night. Mm-hmm. They need presence. That's really all our kids need.
Yeah.
Is yes, you need to protect, you need to provide. Those things go without saying.
Right.
But when it actually comes to the actions of the father, they need you to be present.
Yeah.
If you can do that, if you can spend time with them in the Word, if you can spend time with them playing in the backyard, if you can spend time with them in their favorite hobby, whatever that hobby may be, it might not be yours. Right. Yes, I'm trying to mold my sons into wanting to play golf and do jujitsu and watch football, of course.
Yeah.
And those are all good things with good values. But you know, Landon has hobbies that I don't necessarily have, but I am going to pour into those hobbies.
Yeah.
Because it's what they care about. And you spending time in what they care about, that's all you need to do to build a relationship and to take a lot of pressure off of yourself.
I feel like if you call it 15-year-olds down to 7-year-old, and you did the love language test on them, I guarantee you, the younger they get, I would imagine gift giving would be one of them. But call it 11 or just around the age of Bo right now.
Yeah.
You know, 13, 14, Riley 16. And I guarantee you, if you did the love language test on young people like that, 90% of them, boy and girl, are going to be quality time, words of affirmation. Yeah. They want to know they're doing a good job and they want to spend quality time with you. And, you know, I posted on, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday. Maybe it was my hump day video. No, it was yesterday. I posted about, or maybe it was, I don't know what it was. Anyway, just because I've had weight of this Father's Day week being on me. And I talked about the weight that we carry it because it's worth it, right? Our families are worth us stepping up to the plate. The important piece is to show up and to show up every single day, and to show up without the distractions, without the phone in your face, you know, all those different things that I think are important. I think the most important piece is, like you said, just being present.
And I think that it's really important that you
start. Present doesn't mean just physically, right? I mean, go what you're saying, but I mean, I just wanted to emphasize presence doesn't mean you're sitting in the same room, but you're sitting there on your phone. Yeah. That isn't present. You might as well not even be in the house.
Amen.
To point that.
I believe that you also need to start that process young, the quality time piece, because I think being present and being in the same room and not actually being present as they grow up and they get friends, if you haven't instilled in them how important it is to have quality time with family, those are the kids, they turn 16 and you never see them again.
Yeah.
So when they're young, ensure that you are intentional and intent in making sure that your kids know how important quality time is.
Yeah.
And I guarantee as they get older, and especially after they leave the home, a lot of parents are so devastated when their kids go away that they never come back, and they never want to spend quality time after they're in college and call. But did you do it when they were young? Yeah. Did you instill in them how important quality time with family is?
Yeah.
If you didn't, then it's on you.
Yeah, it is. And you have to do that. My kids, they're both at that age now. They've got friends and a lot of things, but they know how important it is. And I mean, I verbally say it a lot. Like, hey guys, when you're at dad's house, you got to understand, I get you every other week. And I'm sorry, but I'm a little selfish. And when I get you, I want to be around you.
Yeah.
I don't want to be hanging out in the kitchen and it's just Rachel and I and you guys are hibernating in your bedrooms all day or, whatever. I mean, like, I enjoy being around my kids. Like you said, they're good kids and I enjoy being around them. I tell them constantly, like they know. And I think sometimes you got to, with teenagers, and you'll see as they get older and they have friends and they want to do things or whatever, kids aren't that great about communicating. They'll drop on you the last minute like, oh yeah, I'm going to Parker Days today with my friend that I found out this morning, right? But I know, like my 16-year-old's driving now, and so she likes to do a lot of stuff, and like we all did when we were 16.
Yeah.
And so I had to make it clear that, hey, tonight, we're going to the Yabby Hut and gonna have, go do a seafood boil. And the kids are like, cool, great. I think as they get older, you got to make the time in everybody's calendar to do that stuff, but it's important to do it instead of that expectation, because I know so many teenagers, dude, that they're just gone. As soon as they get that driver's license, bro, they are gone.
I will not let my kids be that kid.
Yeah.
And Kylie and I can see that dynamic in both of our families, because her family was a great tight-knit group and really intentional about spending lots of quality time as a family. Mine wasn't. And it was because my parents' divorce happened at probably the worst possible time for us growing up, where I think I was in 5th grade when it started. It didn't end until I was a junior in high school. It was the craziest, swear to God, it was the craziest divorce that this country's ever seen. But because of that, we didn't spend nearly as much quality time as a family. Now, I think my mom tried harder than my dad, but Kylie's, especially her dad, he grew up in a very broken home and he did not want that to be his legacy. So to this day, they are so close and spend so much quality time together. And I get to be the beneficiary of all that. But to circle way back to where we started, the weight that men carry, you do not need to be perfect. There is one perfect father ever, and his name's Yahweh, and that's who we pray to. So outside of that, there have been 0 perfect fathers in history.
We're all going to mess up. I mean, I mess up constantly.
But just don't be perfect, be present.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the work of being a dad.
The thing is just understanding and knowing that, none of us are alone, right? Like I've said before, we're all in the same boat. We all deal with the same crap. The reality of it is I know the same struggles you have, I have, Sean has, Mike has, we all have them, right? And I think the important piece mentally for us is to find guys that will, hold you accountable and make sure that you feel comfortable and safe, sharing those struggles, because we all have them. I mean, just this week, I got a phone call or a text message that one of Bo's baseball buddies, his father passed away. And I was like, oh, geez, he was young, right? So what happened? And he took his own life. His 13-year-old son walked in and found him. I mean, same age as Bo. And buddy, I'm going to tell you, man, that hit me like a sledgehammer right between the eyes. I mean, I got real emotional and I was just thinking, how bad must it feel to be a dad and feel so alone that you have to do that?
Well, it's an epidemic right now, honestly. Yeah. When you look at the age and the sex of the most suicides in America, it's men between the ages of 35 and 55.
Wow.
Yeah, that's number. It's not teenagers. It's definitely not women. Right. It's men between the age of 35 and 55. It's hit me personally where I have friends and friends of friends who are fathers with kids between the, under 18 who have done the same thing. And I've had friends who have attempted it. That speaks to the weight that men do carry. And whether we are too proud to admit it when that weight gets too heavy or too scared to share it, the ending of what you just mentioned and what I just mentioned is obviously never the answer. But men get into such a dark place, they feel like that's the only way out. Yeah. It's the pressure of being a father, of work, of wife, of house, of stuff not going your way, of past trauma that you've had that you don't talk about when you were growing up, or if you were deployed, or if you're a law enforcement officer or a firefighter and you've seen horrible things and done horrible things. Well, suicide is not the answer. Yeah. Your kids are depending on you. Yeah. And my heart is absolutely shattered for the young man that found his dad, because that not only did he lose his father, that right there is life changing. Yeah, forever. But the fact that he found his dad, I'm so heartbroken for that kid. I don't even know him, and my heart's shattered. Yeah, it's never the answer, period. So, I'm going to keep this super simple and whatnot. And, the reality of it is, have a good community, have people that you can count on, and lean on people. And if you don't have those people, find them. They're out there. It is so much easier to pick up the phone than it is to pick up a gun. One of the other things that kind of hit me, I read this week on something, I don't know, and I think I even talked about it at some point, was, being that dad that you always wanted. When we were growing up, there was always that friend's dad that was super cool or whatever, and you were like, damn, man, that dude's awesome, right? I think it's so easy because the apple, never falls far from the tree, right? And it's so easy to fall into, as a father, it's easy to fall into that trap of being like your dad was. And if you're a woman, just like your mom were. And the reality of it is I think that if we could think about and focus on who's that dad that you always wanted, and be that dad, not the dad that you didn't want, and the dad that didn't do enough, or whatever it may be in your situation, I think that your chances of being a better father and changing that generational curse that may be there is going to be much more likely. You grew up without a father figure, and my dad it's a very complicated relationship that all two of my siblings and myself have with him. Because when we were kids, he was present. He especially with me, being the firstborn son, I was more athletic than my younger brother, and my dad was huge into sports. So I can remember literally countless afternoons in the backyard throwing the football, throwing the baseball. He was always my coach growing up, took us backpacking and camping and all. Everything that you want from a dad. Was he maybe a little bit or a lot of it at times too disciplinary physically? Yeah. But he grew up in the 50s in the Midwest, and his dad was the same to him. So maybe too many fraternity battles and belt lashings. Yeah, maybe. But at the end of the day, it did make me who I am today. And I like who I am today. I think I'm a good, respectful man, and maybe that had a little bit to do with it. And then when my parents got divorced, everything changed. He wouldn't admit to it, and he still wouldn't today. It went from being about family to about him. I've gotten to see both the dad that I want it to be and the dad I don't want to be. I doubt he'll ever see this. But if he did, the door's always open for him to reach back out to me. So if you do see this, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, don't know where I'm going with that, but... No, dude, it's just talking about the history there, right? My dad, it wasn't that I grew up without a father figure. I just grew up, because I had a great stepdad. Right. My real dad was just, he just was in and out a lot, right? He was in and out. He was always doing his thing, and when it came to pleasing him or whatever, which is what every son wants to do with their biological dad, is I just want to, hear them say they're proud or whatever, approval, and nothing was just ever good enough. So, I've got my own demons from that, and always trying to prove myself and be better and all this stuff. And maybe that's
has to do with a lot of my drive is to always grow and whatnot, which is a good thing that came from that. Just always maybe feeling like you're not good enough. I guess some of the curse that you do that, and I see, or that comes from that, and I see myself doing the same thing with my son. I mean, there's a lot of times that I'm like, man, I'm proud of you, I love you, or whatever, and there's times that I'm hard on him, and I'll be hard on him for a while. First baseball season, man, he was hitting lights out, and last couple weekends he's struggled a little bit, a lot of ground balls, pop-ups, things like that, and he's struggling to bat. And I had to call myself out the other day because I'm not like verbally abusive or anything, but I'm just not, I'm not encouraging him. I'm not leading him by, hey man, you could be better, you could do better. I'm like, dude, what's going on? What's up with your bat? Just not
using the wrong words.
Yeah, exactly. And so luckily for me, I have a wife that pays attention and calls me to the carpet on it. And, and I can turn it around very quickly because that's not the dad that I want to be, So, I encourage you dads out there, self-audit yourself every now and again. Am I being the dad that I always wanted, or am I being the dad that my dad was that maybe you weren't that proud of, or maybe there was issues there? And are you being that dad, or are you being, and if your dad was a great dad, then you're obviously, then you have a great blueprint, and good for you.
I kind of have both.
Yeah.
I get to have the blueprint of, okay, these are what I want to be and these are what I don't. Mm-hmm. And there are times where I feel myself slipping into the don't.
Yeah.
And Kylie's called same kind of thing as what you just explained, where we have wives that pay attention to what we're doing with our kids, and she'll call me out. And it's a good thing. And it keeps us accountable, because self-auditing is a whole heck of a lot harder.
Yeah.
And as important as that is, having a partner that can audit you and not taking offense to it, right, which is really hard to do sometimes, because they're calling you out on the most personal thing they possibly could.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they want you to be a better man, a better father, and they want to have better sons and daughters. I definitely think leading with love is really important, because no matter what the words are, well, not no matter, but so long as the words are carefully crafted, if you're leading with love, the kids are going to feel and know that. Even if it is a strong, if they're not performing in school, or they are not performing around the house and doing their chores or whatever, or disrespecting mom, or whatever the thing that they are doing, if you're leading with love, even if it's stern love, they know that.
Yeah.
And they know that you are coming to them wanting the best for them and out of them.
Yeah. But leading with love, honestly, I've always said the definition of leadership is love and discipline. If you have too much love, you're going to get rebellion without discipline. And if you have too much discipline without love, you're going to get rebellion. So, I don't think that they're 50-50. I think they're 70-30. You love on your kids a ton. So when you do have to call them the carpet, because nobody likes to be called to the carpet, even children, even adults, especially children or adults, you have to, this is in teams and everything else, right? You have to love on people, and the more you love on them, it gives you more of the right to discipline.
And they're going to respect the discipline more.
Exactly.
If you're just the authoritarian dictator dad, eventually they're not going to give a damn what you have to say.
Right.
But if you are the loving, nurturing, caring, kind dad, well, when it comes time to discipline and call them out for talking back to mom, they're going to be like, oh crap, that was wrong, mom, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that again, I'm going to go to my room now. And they're gonna pay way more attention. Or if you're just the loving dad, hey, can I have iPad? Sure. Hey, can I have popcorn for breakfast? Sure. Hey, can we go see this movie? Sure. If you are only giving them everything they want, and I think in the 30s and 40s, it was too much discipline, and we have way overcorrected as a society.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's too much love now.
Yeah.
Giving kids phones at 8.
Yeah, it makes them soft.
It makes them soft. So it is 100% a balancing act. And I would disagree that it's 70-30. I think it's a constant teeter-totter. Where, yes, most of the time I want it to be 70-30. Mm-hmm. But if there's times when stuff's not going right, well, then it needs to be 30-70 for a little bit. And then we can get back to the 70-30. And I think it's a constant balancing act. I want to keep it more love than discipline, of course. Mm-hmm. But you can't be the dad that doesn't ever shift depending on where your kids are.
Yeah.
I think that it's very important that you need to be fluid with that love and discipline.
You know, it's funny how we talk about the discipline and equaling love with discipline and all that. I literally had to talk to Eddie, my therapist, about it. And Rachel brought it up because she felt like I've been really, really hard on Bo lately. A lot of it was just for me having to repeat myself. I mean, the way I grew up, if my dad had to repeat himself, it was not good.
No.
Right? And, you know, it feels borderline disrespectful when you ask your children to do something. You have to ask them over and over again to do it. And, you know, Eddie helped me with this. And I know some of you guys out there probably are, you know, can relate to this. My son, Bo's got ADD worse than any kid. And he gets it, I mean, probably for me. I mean, I've got it really bad. But, you know, Eddie was like, dude, you got to understand that that disease is a real thing. And you got to understand that his attention is a real thing. And if you don't get better at when you ask him to do something, like have him do it right then, or just know that he's not being disrespectful. That was the gist of all of it was, Garrett, he's got legit ADD, and I'm not going to put him on drugs and shit like that. I just won't do it. That's my choice. The big thing is understanding and knowing that he wasn't just being disrespectful. And that's how I was taking it. So that's why I was being so hard on him. It was like, dude, when I asked you to do something and you don't do it, it's disrespectful. But it wasn't like he's purposely disrespecting me. The kid loves me to death. The kid wants to please his dad. It literally is just his brain, you know, has those issues.
Yeah, I feel like you're talking to me right now because my oldest Landon, he's on the spectrum. Yeah, and definitely has ADHD for sure, or ADD at least. Those two things combined, it can make it really hard for him to focus on some things and really easy for him to focus on other things. And when he's focused on one of the things that goes along with his autism, it's extremely hard for him to break away from that.
Yeah.
So if he's working on schoolwork or Legos or piano or something like that takes a lot of his focus, and mom and dad, or as much as I have love-hate relationship with Minecraft, it's more hate, but when he's so focused in that and wrapped up on it is his autism that's doing it. And when mom and dad ask him to make his bed or say, hey, we gotta go, we have this thing we have to get to, you're literally talking to me right now because I need to take a step back and think, okay, this is not my son disrespecting his father.
Yeah, is he purposely throwing you the bird saying, you know, I don't care what you say?
No, it's not.
It's not. But we take it that way. Like literally, I feel like when I ask Bo to do something and he doesn't do it, it's like him just saying, you know, F you. Like, and I had to really, you know, literally talk to my therapist about it. And he gave me some really good insight. And the reality is that's not what Bo's trying to do. And
our sons, especially sons to fathers, all they want is their father's love and approval.
Yeah.
And like we said earlier, proud.
Yeah.
They want to make you proud. Yeah. It's in their DNA to make dad proud. And frankly, we're both big, intimidating people, and you're not very big, but I am. Right. So I have no doubt that my sons don't want dad mad at them.
Right.
I don't believe my sons are disrespectful kids.
Yeah.
I believe that they want mom and dad's love and affection and approval. And yeah, you just made me check myself because lately I feel, especially with it being summer, they're home all the time. They don't have the freedom to come and go like your kids do at their age. It can be difficult, especially if guys working and I'm trying to get work done and they're doing this, that, or the other thing. I need to remind myself, number one, that they're kids.
Right.
Their brains are decades away from being fully developed. Right. And Landon being on the spectrum and Bo having ADD, and probably Carter will too.
Yeah.
Not letting that piece offend me as a man.
Yeah. And when it offends you or makes you upset, how you respond to it is very different. And so I think, again, you know, going back to the curiosity piece and understanding what's going on and knowing that it's not purposely being disrespectful, that it is an issue, and how you deal with it can give you a completely different result.
Yeah.
And so like I've checked myself the last week, and seriously, like I can already see that Bo and I mean, we're tight anyway, but you can just see
the relationship's better.
Yeah, like I'm pouring way more love into him, way more affirmation into him.
And so he gets a couple bucks to go to Parker Day.
Yeah, exactly. That's what happened.
So the last thing I want to talk about is the legacy that we as men are trying to leave behind. And I've been doing a lot lately with investments and retirement and building something I want to leave to my kids and all this. But in doing that, when men talk about what legacy you want to leave behind, I think we get too wrapped up in what I'm going to leave when I'm gone.
Right.
And not focused enough on, dude, your legacy is right now. What you're doing with your kids today, like the money be damned, the what you leave them, you're gonna focus on that enough that it'll take care of itself. But it is so much more important what you're doing with your kids today and now, and building them and nurturing into them to what they're going to be, and making sure, especially for me having two boys, making sure that they are growing into men of respect, of honor, of hard work, instilling that stuff into them, making sure they're followers of Jesus, or at least leading them to make that choice. And they're definitely making really big steps there, and I'm so proud of them for that. Making sure that your legacy is now. What you're doing right now, much like your retirement account, what you're doing right now is what is going to grow. It's the same kind of compounding interest.
Yeah.
Right? The earlier and the more attention and the more intentionality that you have for the today, that is really what is going to build your legacy.
Yeah.
So legacy isn't some far off thing that when you're dead and gone, it gets passed down to them. No. We have that so backwards.
Yeah.
Your legacy is what you're doing with them today and helping them become the young adults and then adults that are contributing members of society, treat women with respect, honor their husband. Yeah. All of these things are things that we're teaching them now.
Yeah. And, you know, for me, everything I stand for is God and growth, right? And I want to stamp that in my kid's brain that, the legacy that their dad left was he was a disciple, and he was proud of that and tried to lead as many people as he could to Jesus and salvation. And honestly, he always wanted to see people grow. And, there is no standing still in life. You're either growing or you're shrinking.
Yep.
And, do I have high expectations of people in general? Yes. I want to see people be their best. I feel like God built every single one of us for greatness. And I see that, 95% of the people in the world, I think, waste it. And I know that I go through phases of wasting it. I don't think as a whole have I, but I know that I've gone through times in my life where could I have been better? Could I have done more? Could I have focus more on making a difference? And to me, that's what it's all about, man. To me, it's all about raising children that become young adults that just want to make a difference. Yeah. In a real difference. Yeah. Not like, hey, I made somebody smile today, even though to me that's making a difference. But, it is being successful in what you do, helping more people in what you do. It is, bringing more people to church. Let's face it, man, when I say successful, I mean having a successful marriage, taking that legacy that I left you and generationally passing it down to where, it just becomes who we are as the Townsend name, right? Yeah. We're about God and growth and expecting the most out of people. Yeah. And encouraging people to be their best. And so for me, it's, I've always had mad respect for like Nick Saban. I don't know him personally at all, but as a coach, he always just was able to bring out the best in his players. I just want to bring out the best in everybody that I find myself being around.
You do.
And, you absolutely. Sometimes it can be hard, like I'm hard on them, but at the end of the day, I just want people to be their best version. Yeah. And I expect it. And I'm that guy that's going to push it and almost to the uncomfortable
You
spot.
lead with love, so everybody knows that it comes from love.
Yeah.
So, in speaking to your legacy, go make a memory this weekend. We know that we have Father's Day coming up in a couple of days, so we're obviously going to do that with our kids. But even on the weekends that aren't Father's Day, aren't birthdays, whatever, I challenge all the dads out there, go make a memory with your kids this weekend. Do something special.
Show up.
Show up.
Show up big. Show up big. Be present. Be that dad that you always wanted in your life.
Right. I want to end this podcast a little bit differently than we have before. I actually kind of want to say a prayer for all the dads out there. Whether you're a follower of God or not, if you stuck with us this long, I want to. Is that cool?
Let's do it.
All right.
I love it, man.
All right. So Heavenly Father, we come to you today in honor of you, and just want to lift up all the dads out there. There was only ever been one perfect father, and that's you. And thank you for giving us the example to live by, so that we can pass that example on to our kids. And I want to lift up all the dads out there that are struggling with mental health and the weight of being a father. God, I just want you to put your hand on their heart and lift them up and tell them, hey, it's all going to be okay. That you are my son, and I got you, and I will never ever forsake you, and I am here for you. Because we all know that your love and your presence is more powerful than anything that we could ever imagine. And we honor you, and we love you, and we thank you. And in God's most powerful name, amen.
Amen. Damn, that was good, dude.
Amen.
We'll drop the mic on that one.
All right, guys.
See you guys next time.
Father's Day out there to all you dads.